Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Soo-young, Professor of Finance at Chung-Ang University. Professor Song, good to have you back on.
Yeah, thank you for having me in this interview. Okay.
Well, on Wall Street, the S&P broke its 7-session winning streak despite anticipation of a vaccine. Part of that is still the holdup on the stimulus bill. Today, Korea's KOSPI index, though, turned higher right at the end of the session. What's the story in the stock markets?
Yeah, overall in the worldwide, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq Composite in the United States had shown quite a large percentage of change of the drop, particularly 0.38 percentage point in Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the Nasdaq Composite had shown 1.69 percentage drop. S&P 500 also shows that the negative numbers in dropping 0.8%. Whereas in China, Shanghai Composite has shown also the drop of the 1.63%. That may reflect the recent surge in the Shanghai Composite Index. And in Japan has shown a positive increase, 0.34, and the FTSE in the UK 100 index has shown 0.68 percentage increase. Whereas in Korea, our KOSPI index has shown the positive increase, and whereas the Kosdaq market has shown the declining. But I'm interestingly enough, in the global commodity market, particularly the gold futures, and has shown a little bit negative numbers. Now, currently, it's trading in the market. Therefore, the size of negative numbers is become smaller. So, I'm not sure how does this indicate the future of the currency's value against the gold and the silvers. But at least this kind of some volatility will continue. In the meantime, the crude oil and the Brent crude futures had shown some positive. So this indicates the world economy is expected to recover. But we have to take into account of some second wave, whether second wave will take place or not. That will determine the global economy's path in the future.
Well, the OECD is forecasting the Korean economy this year will shrink by 0.8%. That would give Korea the best growth figure in the OECD. As you point out, that still depends on what happens with the virus, of course. What do you see happening with the Korean economy? Yeah,
Korean economy so far in June 2020, the OECD report, they have estimated the projected Korean economic growth rate by negative 1.2%. If with some second wave of the outbreak of coronavirus, that will be as low as minus 2.5%. That was June estimation forecast, but in August 11th, they have adjusted. In the single coronavirus case is 0.8%, whereas if there is another second wave of the coronavirus outbreak, then it will be decreased to minus 2%. But however, this is even in June and the current point of time, at the current moment, the best performance worldwide, even including China and some other smaller countries. So far, the Korean economy has survived and has performed quite relatively very good than the other remaining part of the world. So still, currently, that requires definitely some expansion, more expansionary fiscal policy for the economy to support the economy. But relatively, we are in a very favorable position when we consider the relative percentage of the public debt against the GDP is just 5.4%. That is the lowest among the countries in OECD countries. The supplementary budget impact on the GDP is the lowest among the several advanced and OECD countries.
It is impressive, but we're not out of the woods yet because the number of people employed in Korea continues to fall. It's fallen for a fifth straight month compared to last year. The decline, though, was smaller last month than in June. What do you make of this, Professor? We're almost out of time, but also what needs to be done?
Yeah, currently, at least we have the employment numbers of people has been declining, but the magnitude of the employment rate has been reduced, but the speed is declining. Therefore, at least this may indicate that our economy currently has managed to relatively well, but when we compare the other countries. But however, if there is in OECD data, and library has shown very interesting interactive pictures showing that Korea has going to, even with the second wave, our unemployment rate has been reached 5.4% in the worst case, but the other countries such as Italy or Spain or France, even Germany has shown really the impact would be almost 30%. So that indicates that even though clearly our unemployment rate and employment rate cannot be affected by the coronavirus, but however, the magnitude will be the minimal level among the worldwide. And also, I expect our economy, as long as the world trade is put on some recovery path, then our economy will have some V-shaped, very pent-up surge of the economic growth rate. But what I'm most concerned is some kind of the political and the geopolitical danger or risk, particularly in between China and the U.S. That is the most concern. But otherwise, our economy is expected to recover relatively sooner and much better than the remaining part of the world.
Well, let's hope that scenario plays out. All right, Professor, thanks so much for coming on today. Always good to get your insights.
Thank you.